Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to the classroom. Oh my God, sir, things have changed a lot from the introduction class. Yes, do things are going to change? There's a very simple saying in Hindi कि पहले पत्ते नहीं दिखाने चाहिए ना. Exactly. Now things have changed, and before moving further, definitely things are going to change. Before moving further, let me tell you that we'll be using a composition of 80% English and we'll be using 20% Hindi. Why 20% Hindi, sir? Why don't you use exact Angrezi? The logic behind this is that we do have people from North India as well, and Hindi basically gives them a feeling like that yes, teacher is somehow he knows Hindi as well. So now moving on to next, talking about rest of the aspects. When it comes to auditing, auditing requires a lot of things which are required to be completed at your end. At my end, that means you are giving me homework. No, I will never give you any kind of a single homework. Any kind of homework will not be given from my end. Now moving on to next, what are the aspects which are required to be taken care of? Now the very first thing which you guys need is that you should have a basic knowledge of accounts. You guys have studied accounts, right? So you should be aware about the simple terminologies which are used in accounts, just like what is the meaning of financial statement, what is trial balance, what is profit and loss account. I do not want you guys to be an expert in accounts, but what I want from you guys that you should have a basic knowledge of accounts. That's it. That is sufficient. Now, before starting further, before moving further, can you guys please tell me? So, we both of us are looking forward to buy an iPhone. Okay. So, from where you would like to buy an iPhone? That from from any of the shops or from certified Apple stores. Sir, I would like to buy it from certified Apple stores. Why? Why? They will give me the exact thing with a kind of quality assurance. Exactly. Exactly, just like that, just like that, just like that, there are two things. There is one thing which is financial statement, and there is another thing which is known as audited financial statements. Anybody can rely on audited financial statements very easy. It becomes very easy for them to rely on such kind of stuff. But when it comes to unaudited, that is somehow which is really difficult. Now, moving on to next, talking about rest of the things, let's go ahead. Let's move on to our topic. So, talking about the company. So, this class is basically going to be about the basic concepts which are related to our thing. Now, moving on to next, you guys know that really very well that when it comes to a particular company, you will find that there are investors. You will find that there are investors, and there is a particular management of company who used to look after the day-to-day affairs. ठीक है बेटा? They used to look after the day-to-day affairs. कौन देखता है? Management देखता है. Now, management is also responsible for preparing financial statements. For preparing financial statements. Now, what is financial statement? Financial statement has been defined in Companies Act. Each and every definition, wherever you find, whenever you are going to find any definition, you are going to find that straight away into section number 2. Preparing financial statement as per section 2 subsection 40, it includes first of all, profit and loss account, which gives you a net figure of how much profit the company has earned, or in case how much loss has been incurred during the financial year. Or if tax case आपसे बात करूँ तो how much loss you have incurred or how much profit you have earned in the previous year. Right. After that, balance sheet, which can be also be termed as the statement of asset and liabilities. After that, cash flow statement. So this statement has been given as per Companies Act. But what you guys are required to include one more thing when it comes to auditing, that is related notes. How many of you have seen any kind of a balance sheet? But when it comes to these related notes, they are going to give you the explanation for each and every point. That if our profit is this much, how we have derived that. Just like working notes, na? When I used to do accounts, I used to prepare working notes. Just like that, we will be getting a kind of a very short explanation into our related notes that from where we have derived this particular figure. Now, moving on to next. These are the things, but you are not required to write down this section. It's okay. You can leave it. When it comes to Companies Act, you will find only these three things are over there. Getting my point? Now, talking about financial statements. So first of all, if I tell you that who is interested in the financial statement of a company, who will look after it? I mean, if I talk about that a particular sale is going on at Puma, will you be interested? Why should I be interested? I don't want to buy anything. Okay, if you are willing to buy something, okay, let me give you another example. So a girl recently, she broke up with her boyfriend. Are you interested? Sir, definitely I am, sir. You are interested. Congratulations. In case if you are committed or if you are married, like sir, will you be interested? No, sir. Then why? I mean, I'm not. I will not be interested then. Oh, तो फंस गया ना बेचारा. Now, in that particular situation, just like that, which are the parties who may be interested into the financial statements? So we can write it as entities interested in financial statements. When it comes to financial statement of a company, who are the people who are interested in financial statements? So there are particularly, you will find that there are so many companies. There are so many entities. The very first is shareholder. Shareholder when it comes to a company, or proprietor when it comes to a particular proprietorship. Because he is the exact person who needs to find out that he has how much profit my company or else how much profit my partnership firm or my proprietorship has earned. How you will come to know about? Until unless I'm not going to prepare a profit and loss account, how will I come to know about that how much profit I have earned or how much loss I have incurred? Right? कितना फायदा कितना नुकसान कैसे पता चलेगा? Profit and loss account से ना रोज रोज पता लगाते रहोगे नहीं. You are going to file a statement. And first of all, who will be interested? Malik, exactly. Who will be interested? Malik, owner. After that, lenders. Lenders. The people who have given you guys loans. Lenders, that is banks and financial institutions. Banks and financial institutions. They are going to be interested. Definitely. If this company has availed a loan from Patanjali Bank, sir, there is no bank with the name of Patanjali. You don't know Baba Ramdev. Might be he can be there into many businesses. The way he is achieving the benchmarks, you don't know where he is going to be. In next years, you might find him on the position of Prime Minister. Then Mitram will be out. Now moving on to next. Shareholders, lenders. Now moving on to next, suppliers. Beta, whatever we are writing over here, it's my request that you guys are writing it over here. But when it comes to examination, you are required to explain each and every point. You are required to explain every point in two lines. 2 lines will be sufficient. 2 line, 1 line, 3 lines. 3 lines is the maximum point. Suppliers, the people who are supplying raw material to the company or they are supplying any kind of material to the company, they will be interested. So that if this company, let us suppose that I am the supplier and I am giving goods to Baba Ramdev, and Baba Ramdev, that person basically, his company is growing, then definitely I will also grow. Right? But in case if I will come to know about that his company is incurring losses, then definitely he will not be much interested in placing orders with my company. Right? Logically, अगर उसको फायदा हो रहा है तो मेरा भी तो business grow करेगा, कल को माल मेरे से ही लेगा. Right? But when it comes to losses, my business will also be affected. So that's why supplier is interested. Now moving on to next, customers. So how many of you still believe that Nokia is over there and Nokia is giving you the best smartphone ever? So if it comes to okay, so which one is better, Apple or Nokia? So definitely Apple is better. I mean, why? Apple is earning too much. You will find that Apple can invest, Apple can give you better specification, better mobile phones and everything. So when it comes to customers are too much interested that whether this company is growing or not. Or if I tell you there is something known as हमदर्द, I'm not talking about the हमदर्द song from एक विलन, जो तू मेरा हमदर्द है फिर सुहाना हमदर्द है, जरा कोई पीट के चला जाए तुम्हारे को, उसके बाद गाना ये गाना उसका हाथ पकड़ के, oh I'm sorry. So people who are there with me from South India. Now when it comes to customers, they are also interested. So customers, after that government. Sir, why government is interested? Oh, why government is interested? Because government is going to government is going to impose taxes on you guys. If you are going to tell them that in this year we have not incurred any kind of income, if you have not earned anything, will income tax apply? No, income tax will not apply, right? Income tax will not apply. Now, in that particular situation, will that be a loss to government? If you are earning, then government is also earning by imposing income tax. If you are not earning, then government is also not earning. So they are earning by indirect tax. Okay. Then also you are not going to have only a single business, na? Come on, you are going to be a professional. ऐसे काम करोगे. Now, government after that, research scholars. Okay, research scholars. The people who are doing research, they might be interested into the financial statements of a company. So the people who are doing research, yes, I still remember when I was into senior secondary, when I was into 11th class, we come to know about there is a kind of ratio chapter into accounts. Do you guys know about it? There was a kind of ratio chapter into accounts, and we were basically given some kind of balance sheets from Hindustan Unilever and Wipro and so many things, and we were given a particular task to find out the ratios from that balance sheet. The same scenario continues for a long time as well. Now moving on to next, entities interested in financial statements. So I'm telling you guys again and again, in case this kind of question comes, you are required to write down the headings. Along with this, you are required to write down the explanations also. Got it? Now, should I go ahead? Please pause. Okay, you can pause over here. Now, moving on to next, talking about the next thing. So we are going to talk about auditing. Right? So what is auditing? As I've given you guys companies, that kind of a situation in which somebody else has done investment. That means investor is somebody else and management is somebody else. Although management can be an investor and investor can be there in management, but we are going to consider both of them a different scenario. So if I tell you that management is going to prepare the accounts of the company, every time the management is going to give you like that, yes, the accounts are absolutely correct. बेटा, इतिहास गवाह है, कभी कोई लड़की ये नहीं कहती कि मैं देखने में बहुत बुरी हूँ. Just like that, into the same situation, a girl will never tell you that she is too much ugly. No. She will every time tell you, I'm the beautiful one. You know that? Look at the dimple. This kind of thing to happen. So every time the management is going to prepare the accounts, they are going to tell you that these accounts are true, sir. These accounts are true. These accounts are absolute. Right? In that particular situation, we do hire a person named as a chartered accountant who can be an auditor, and he is going to check the accounts which are prepared by the company, or he is going to check the financial statements which are prepared by the company. So auditing, there is a particular auditing standards which is known as SA200. This has given the definition about auditing, that auditing is an independent examination. Auditing is an independent examination. Auditing is an independent examination of financial statements. Of financial statements is an independent examination. If I tell you that this person, when it comes to the company, when it comes to the management, this person is maternal uncle of the person named as, there's a person named as A, and this person B is maternal uncle of A. Maternal uncle means mama lagta hai uska. So now talking about his maternal uncle. So is he independent enough? Nahi sir, mama to ekdam gajab aadmi hota hai. I'm sorry. I went into flow. I'm sorry. So if you are having some kind of things with your maternal uncle, he will be totally biased. He will be like, hey, he's my nephew, hey, come here, come here, he's absolutely correct. Okay, okay. Just like that things we used to have in BBQ wines. Okay. Now moving on to next is an independent examination of financial statements. After that, examination of financial statements of an entity. Of an entity. Let's come back to the topic here. Of an entity, whether profit oriented, whether profit oriented or not, whether profit oriented or not, and irrespective irrespective of and irrespective of its size or legal form, when such examination is conducted, when such examination is conducted to express an opinion thereon, to express an opinion thereon. Got it? So this is particularly that what is the definition of auditing, and when it comes to audit, when it comes to any of the definitions, now the worst thing about definition is I feel like that it's boring. So after that, this person, let us change the example. This person is not the maternal uncle. He should be an independent party. He should not be basically biased from any of the ends. He's totally an independent party. Then in that particular situation, he is going to give a review, or you can say an opinion about the financial statements prepared by the company. Okay, he's going to give a proper an opinion. He's going to express an opinion that what are the basically the kinds of financial statements which are they. I mean, कैसे हैं financial statements, whether they are true and fair or whether they are not true. Okay, now moving on to next, talking about the next thing, please pause. Now the next thing is all about assurance. Next thing is all about assurance. Baby, I assure you, I will not look after any of the girls. Baby, I give you an assurance. Baby, every time we will go for shopping. So this is a kind of assurance. Assurance over here refers to the satisfaction of auditor. The satisfaction of auditor. You guys will come to know about very soon that what are the areas of of conducting a fraud and what are the areas of detecting a fraud. Sir, what do you say? I'm talking about the detecting fraud. How you are going to detect a fraud? Okay, you're not going. You told us just about now how we are going to conduct a fraud. सभी चोर है भारत देश में सभी चोर. The satisfaction of auditor. The satisfaction of auditor as to reliability of an assertion being made, by one party to another party. So look over here again. This is a company, and company has prepared financial statements. Now this person has verified those accounts, and he is of the opinion he is totally satisfied. Now he is going to give an assurity to the investor that yes, accounts are true. He will give an assurity about the accounts that yes, the accounts which are prepared, they are absolutely true. There is no harm in such kind of accounts. The accounts which are prepared, they are absolutely true. Got my point? Did you got what I meant to say? So he's saying that it's particularly an assurance about the satisfaction of auditor as to reliability of an assertion, that means made by one party to another. Okay, so for this, in order to provide assurance, or you can write it as to provide provide an assurance, it's not like that the auditor is going to check just the financial statements. The financial statements, they are based on the vouchers, they are based on the credit things, they are based upon the journals, ledgers, and so many accounts which are prepared. To provide an assurance, auditor is going to assess the evidence collected as a result of procedures conducted and express a conclusion. So this is all about all the things which are over here. They are like that, yes, if this person is going to carry out audit will not be carried out just merely looking after the profit and loss account. It is going to be a continuous process which is going to run for months. There are so many kinds of audit which are going to be over there. It all depends upon the management of your company, that which type of audit they want to get conducted. Now, moving on to next, what are the degree of satisfaction is achieved by the level of assurance which may be determined by the procedures which are there, which will give you the attained results. क्या बोला, कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आया? अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं, लो हिंदी में आराम से समझो. There are so many type of engagements which are involved while auditor is going to provide the assurance. Okay, there are so many types of engagements. Yes, sir, we thought engagement means types of engagements. There are so many types of engagements which are involved when it comes to those kind of things. So the very first is audit engagement. That is known as audit engagement. This audit engagement is applicable on historical financial information. It basically provides a high, or you can write it as provides high level of assurance, right? So this audit engagement which provides a very high level of assurance, right? So this is a particular situation when the assurance gives you a very high level that yes, whatever the information which is given by the company itself, that is totally true and there are no such kind of misstatements. Misstatements being like the profit is 500 crores, they have raised it to 550 crores. Right? So this is all about a particular scenario that yes, actually the things are like that, yes, the profit is 500 crore rupees. Got my point? So high level of assurance. The second point which is over there is review engagements. This review engagement particularly gives you, it is again only applicable on historical financial information. What does it mean by historical financial information? Historical financial information means which you have already prepared. Now, historical financial information, moving on to next, it provides a moderate level of assurance. Provides a level of assurance. Got it? Yes, please. Should I go ahead? Moving on to next. Now, on this particular scenario, what you will find with that, which kind of applicable standards are over there. There are some kind of standards on auditing, which is particularly known as auditing. SAs. In our normal language, we used to call it as auditing standards. So, but this is SAs. That's why I have used SA 2000. Auditing Standard 2000 gives you the definition of auditing. Remember, we have just written it over there as SA 2000. Yes, these are the basic things. You need to pay almost attention over there. Almost, yes, because each and every time the mind of a student that is diverted, you do have a lot of things to be done. But when it comes to us, we people are basically hum to vele hain. Now, moving on to next, review engagement. That is all about standards on review engagement. So when it comes to review engagement, they do have different standards. This is the short form. SREs, which is generally used, we'll be using these kind of short forms so many times. And after that, the third type of engagement which is used over there, that is assurance engagements. So both of them, the previous two points, they were applicable on historical information. It is applicable on other than historical financial information. Other than historical financial information. Now moving on to next, that this is applicable on other than that point. Previously those points were applicable on historical financial information. Now what we are going to talk about, okay. Now they do have different scenarios which are so they are basically applicable on various engagements other than audit. Yes, they do provide basically some kinds of review kind of things. Audit and review. That means, for example, they are going to provide you verification of projects, or they may provide you about the forecast, projections, etc. Now the fourth one, this is all about related services. There are some other kind of related services which forms a part of the engagements in order to carry out the assurance. Related services over there refers to, this is applicable for agreed upon procedures. And other related services. What does this other related services means? This other related services means compilation of balance sheet. You guys tend to make a kind of a consolidated financial statements. That is a kind of related services. That is not audit. You just have to club both of them. You just have to do an addition. That is all. Now, when it comes to the third point, there are different kind of standards which are applicable. What you will find, the applicable standards are standards on assurance engagement. SAEs. Got it? And after that, what you will find when it comes to related services, you will find that there are standards on related services. That is particularly known as SRS. Got it? So for everything, what you will find that there are some kind of standards when it comes to auditing. Sir, okay, थोड़ा सा टेढ़ा है ये, पर कोई बात नहीं, पर मेरा है कुरकुरे. Now moving on to next. So while giving their assurance, there are so many aspects which are involved. Right? While giving assurance, there are so many aspects which are involved. Sir, before you move further, let me tell you, I am getting confused between auditing and assurance. So let me tell you, auditing is a much wider part. Auditing is like comparison of the documents with the actual financial statements to ascertain whether they are right or not. Right? So that in order to ascertain whether they are right or not, after those ascertainment, the auditor will give an assurity that yes, they are true. So assurance is a part of auditing. And assurance do include so many steps. Like Okay, where I am. So assurance is given by auditor, right? Auditing is a very much wider aspect. Assurance is that yes, these accounts are true. That is an assurance which is given. सब कुछ ठीक है, सब कुछ अच्छा है, चकाचक है. That is assurance. Everything is fine. That is assurance. Assurance is given once that auditing is complete. You can consider it things like that. And moving on to next, before talking about rest of the things, so as we have covered over here, there is a high level of basically assurance. So this is basically also termed as positive assurance. Positive assurance. And but when it comes to this moderate level of assurance, you can write it as negative assurance. Negative assurance, because there may be some kind of conflicts which may arise, or there may be some kind of misstatements or fraud which may arise when it comes to these kind of engagements. Now moving on to next, talking about that auditor is going to give the assurance, right? Auditor will give assurance in following aspects. Auditor is going to give the assurance into the following aspects. What are those following aspects? First of all, he is going to tell you that whatever the books of accounts which have been prepared, they are absolutely true. The books of accounts which have been prepared, they are absolutely true, and they have a supporting evidence for that as well. If a particular voucher has been prepared, that is true, that do contains the signature of those people, and it's not like that just a fake entry has been made. आपने एंट्री कर दी, voucher है ही नहीं, right? Evidence. After that, full inclusion. Now, whatever the entries which are there in books of accounts, every entry has been included while preparation of financial statements. Sir, what are books of accounts? Books of accounts are those ledgers, those kind of journals, or whatever the kind of vouchers which you guys prepare, right? There's a kind of difference among both of them. I will give you the exact definition as well. But please try to understand that whatever we are going to prepare, बेटा profit and loss account, balance sheet ये मैं बना रहा हूँ क्या सीधा बना दूंगा? नहीं, उससे पहले I am going to refer few things. I am going to refer the vouchers, that to small accounts, journals, ledgers, सब कुछ मुझे prefer करना पड़ेगा. So that includes full inclusion. Whatever the books of accounts are over there, that is totally, each and every entry is included in financial statements. After that, clarity. The financial statements, they are totally clear. Financial statements are clear. Okay. Every entry is included. In financial statements. If you are not going to include, let's suppose whatever the earnings are, you have included them. But when it comes to expenditure, you have not included them. Why? Because you were like, we are going to enjoy. I mean, the profit is going to be 500 crores. You have not deducted any of the expenditures. You have not transferred the entries which were over there into trial balance, which were over there into your, whatever the things which were over there into your journals. You have not transferred them to the exact accounts. After that, talking about the disclosure. What kind of disclosures which are over there? So whatever the amounts which are properly classified, that should be as per the exact accounting standards. You guys have covered the accounting standards. And whatever the things which are over there, the company is following the exact accounting standards, those things are over there properly. Right? Now moving on to next, the financial statements. They give true and fair view. Of financial statements is given. So auditor is going to give an assurance about all of these things. Right? Accounts have been drawn. As per books of accounts. not books of accounts. You can write, you are going to write only books over there. Whatever the books, whatever basically that, petty cash book or the ledgers which you have maintained, your accounts are totally prepared on the basis of those kind of books which you have prepared. Okay, got my point? Now moving on to next, should I go ahead? Now moving on to next, it's whose responsibility to prepare accounts. So auditor, what is going to be the scope of auditor? You can write it as auditor versus management responsibility. Versus management responsibility. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me correct it. What is the responsibility of the auditor and what is the responsibility of the management? The very first thing, the management responsibility. The management responsibility is management. You can write management is primarily responsible. Management is primarily responsible. Primarily responsible for preparation of account. For preparation of not accounts. For preparation of financial statements. For preparation of financial statements. Plus, management is also responsible to include. It is also responsible to include maintenance of adequate accounting records, and internal controls. Selection of proper accounting policies, and safeguarding of assets of company. Whatever the assets of company, that should be safe and that should be over there. After that, moving on to next. So, there are so many kinds of management responsibilities which you guys have covered into section number 134 of Companies Act, which talks about the code report as well. That what is the responsibility of the management? It talks about the director responsibility statement. How many of you remember that? Director responsibility statement, DRS 134. There were so many points. Okay, it's okay. So now what is the responsibility of auditor? The responsibility of the auditor is to express an opinion. On financial statements prepared within framework of recognized accounting policies and practices. So the framework of recognized accounting policies and practices. So management is responsible for preparation of accounts. So can you guys easily fetch out the difference over here? He is responsible for preparation of accounts, whereas he is going to give an opinion. Just like in your school, what used to happen? That you guys used to do your homework, you guys used to solve your questions, and after that the teacher is going to give you a review. Good, fair, excellent. Just like that, in that kind of practices, the auditor is going to give you an opinion. Like that what is going to be over there. That what are the things which are over there. Got it? Should I go ahead? Yes, please. Did you guys understood what is the difference between both of them? Yes, sir. Okay. Got it. Now moving on to next. Okay. Let us go ahead. So talking about a company's auditor. We are going to discuss those kind of things in detail later on. But let me tell you, So you guys are okay. You guys are already aware about that the auditor of the company should be totally independent. Yes, if he turns out to be your cousin, then you will tell him, "Arey, come on, na, just say yes. The things are true. Come on." If the examiner, right? Let me give you one more example. You have an world's largest, second largest accounting body, ICAI. The world's largest is ACCA. Sir is already a faculty over there as well. So when it comes to ICAI, they do have some people. ICAI is the management. ICAI is management. You guys are over there who is going to become a chartered accountant. You can consider yourself as a company. And the people who are doing the investment, they are your parents. They are investors. Right? So what happens? That management, that when it comes to your examination, when it comes to your exams, you will find that there's a person who is going to check your examination papers. Right? There is a person who is going to check your examination papers. You can consider him as your auditor. You can consider him as your auditor. If this auditor is a friend of company, then what is going to happen? If the person who is going to check my exam is if he come on, don't be excited. If he is going to be your friend, he is going to make you like you will be getting 100 on 100 on auditing. You will set a world record. So just in that kind of a scenario, when it comes to a particular company, the auditor is required to be an independent person. But let me give you the clear picture. He is never. Now moving on to next, we were talking about the independence of auditor. Yes, we were talking about. I'm sorry, where we were. Okay, there we are. So this is all about independence of auditor. Independence of auditor. Independence of auditor. So talking about this independence of auditor, it's a very basic concept which talks about integrity, objectivity. Integrity, objectivity, because audit is required to be carried out for a particular purpose, that yes, he is going to give an opinion that whether those accounts are true and fair or not. Objectivity and independence. And independence as one of the basic principles. The auditor is required to be straightforward, he is required to be honest and sincere. He should not be like that, it's okay, fraud is going on, I don't care, I'm getting my fees, man. The company is approaching him. The companies are going to approach those kind of chartered accountants and they will tell them straightforward that there is a difference, there is a mistake in this part. If you avoid this, we will give you this much. But don't do that. That is going to compromise your qualification. You will be debarred from conducting any kind of audit. I will tell you those kind of things as well. So auditor is required to be an integrated, a person who possesses integrity, objectivity and independence. And what does this mean by independence? Independence means judgment is not subordinate. Judgment is not subordinate. Judgment is not subordinate to wishes or directions of other persons. To wishes or directions of other persons. So that integrity, what refers to that if the auditor is your cousin, he is going to work straight away as per your direction. That means he is not independent. He is not independent. Got it? You are understanding my point? He is not independent if he is working as per your directions. He is not independent. Okay, I am also not independent. Whenever she is going to give me a call, hey, and how much time you'll be back at home? Maybe just 10 more minutes. And after that, I have to wrap up the classroom. So, am I independent? No. The people who think they are independent, you can be an independent person until only when you are a bachelor. After some time, you will lose your independence. You will feel like that, yes, my bachelor life was. Now, moving on to next. It turns out to be a very, difficult moment for me. Now, when it comes to when I was talking about the independence. Independence. Okay, this is something which I have explained. Now, what is required to be explained? Okay, that is explained. Sir, can you please tell me what is the meaning of integrity? Chi. Integrity means an honest person with strong moral principles. That means if company is going to offer you bribe, you are straight away going to tell them, no, I don't want this. If they are going to offer, 50 lakh rupees to you, you are straight away going to tell them, no, I don't need your bribe. I am an honest person. ईमानदारी मेरे रग में है, ऐसा कुछ बोल देना उसको. That you are an integrated person. Right? Objectivity refers to that audit is required to be kept in mind a particular objective that you are going to express your opinion. Now, there are few things. That auditor is not required that a chartered accountant, if he's over there, he's not going to give only a single kind of services. There are multiple kind of other services also. Other multiple services, yes. That there are so many services which may affect the independence of an auditor. Auditor. So, effect of related services. Effect of related services. Effect of related services on auditor's independence. On auditor's independence. In case there are so many services, as I told you previously as well, which can be provided by a chartered accountant. The very first one is taxation service. Taxation service, yes. Taxation service can be also provided by a particular person who is appointed over there as an auditor. So, when there are many auditors who prepare tax computation, the tax computation is done by that kind of an auditor at his end for the client companies. So, this is going to basically how this can affect if that person is doing the tax computation for the company, that is good. If he is doing the tax computation for the individual directors as well, this is the area of conflict. Are you getting my point? My client is company, then it's good. No issues. There will be nothing which is going to affect my independence. The company is saying you are doing auditing for us. Why don't you do tax computation as well? Okay, I'll do that. If in case director comes to me, he says you are going to handle my individual tax, that means his tax computation is required to be done at my end again. Company can be my client, but director should not be my client. If director becomes my client, he is going to give a lot of mouth-watering offers to me. Right? Getting my point? Effect if dealing with tax affairs of directors. Right? Now, moving on to next. Talking about a particular director, every time the director is going to give you they do have a different kind of preferences. Now, moving on to next, how this can be reduced. How this can be reduced? This can be reduced by assigning an independent person for tax management. An independent person for tax money. For individual directors tax affairs. So it means in order to handle the affairs, the tax of the individual director, just straight away avoid it. Delegate that to somebody else. Your friends, they may be auditors, delegate the work to them. You are not going to have those kind of things. Situations like in most of the companies, what you will find apart from independent directors, there are so many directors who are over there and who are appointed as directors, and they have shares also. So when it comes to their shareholder perspective, every time they are looking forward that yes, company should give dividend. So they will pressurize you that you are filing my return. It's okay. I'll give you double of the amount. Put the pressure on the company. that they are going to give dividends. Being an auditor is like a person who has so many powers. You will come to know about it, right? So individually dealing with dealing with tax computation of the company, that is perfect, but you are not required to deal with the individual tax affairs of the directors. If you want to do so, you are going to appoint one more person for this. Just appoint an independent person. Otherwise, the directors are going to maintain pressure on you guys. Moving on to next. So the next is about accountancy services. Accountancy services. Yes. These accountancy services. So that means participation in preparation of accounting records. So, I mean, can you tell me something? It's whose responsibility to prepare accounts? Sir, it is the responsibility of the management to prepare accounts. Now, what it means over there? That auditor is going to participate. In preparation of accounting records. If I am preparing the accounts, how can I tell you that my accounts are wrong? If you have been given a homework, and you are required to check your question on your own without a particular solution. I have given you guys a question, okay? And you are required to verify that question, whether that is right or wrong, and you have been given no answers for that. Right? There are no answers. What you have to do, you have to look after it. How can I do this? There is one person who is making accounts. There is a company. The company is required, the management is required to make accounts. This auditor is basically helping them in making accounts. And how can we be so much rest assured that if he is going to carry out audit, his audit is going to be true? How can one challenge his own work? How can I challenge my own work? Nobody is going to do that. Okay. So an audit firm is not required to participate in accounting companies' accounts, accounting records, and you can write it as companies' accounts and companies' accounts. But the initial classes might be difficult for you guys because it's altogether a new subject. You guys don't know about auditing till late. You just know about accountancy a little bit. Now after that, how this can be reduced? If such kind of instances do happen, then how you are going to deal with it? How to reduce risk? The risk which has been increased. Why that has been increased? Just because the auditor is making accounts. First of all, responsibility of accounts vests with management. The auditor will straight away tell them, I am helping you guys in preparing accounts, but in case of any kind of a default, I am not responsible. Okay, the auditor is helping them. He's saying it's okay, whatever require, I will help you guys in that. But I am not going to be responsible. The responsibility for the accounts, that totally lies with the management. Now, moving on to next. Auditor is not getting an operational role. The auditor has not been assigned any of the operational roles. Got my point? Yes, please. Did you got my point? Yes. So he has not been given an operational role. Second thing is that responsibility does not vest with auditor. The responsibility has been given to management. I will help you out. Just like in examination, your friend is sitting next to you. He is going to tell you the answers, but If that answer turns out to be wrong, who is going to be responsible? You are responsible, na? If your friend is sitting next to you in examination, let me repeat, and you basically ask a question that, hey, do you know the answer about question number 4 part B? It's true or false? He said it's false. You have written over there as false. Right? He has assisted you. But if this turns out to be wrong, the answer was true, who is going to be responsible? You are going to be responsible. In that scenario, the auditor will not be responsible. The company will be responsible if you want to reduce the risk. Now, moving on to next point, talking about the third point, which is all about the management consultancy. Management consultancy. Although auditor cannot render such kind of services, these kind of services, they have been prohibited. The logic being, they are prohibited as per section 144 of Companies Act. But when it comes to firms, such kind of services can be given. So independence may be compromised if course of action is required from the client's perspective when it comes to management consultancy. So you can write it as independence may be compromised. I will explain everything. Independence may be compromised if course of action is recommended to an audit client. Got it? Understanding my point? That independence is going to be compromised. How that will be compromised? There is an auditor. He is an auditor. Auditor, what he has done, he has recommended something to the client. And let us suppose he has recommended some of the computers. He has recommended a computer, or he has recommended a software for accounting, and this software turns out to be unreliable, or this software is not reliable up to the mark. By using this software, what happens? The information might get leaked. The information might be, fetched out by somebody else. Information कोई भी निकाल सकता है इससे. Unreliable है. So इस केस के अंदर अब क्लाइंट तो पकड़ेगा, धोएगा सीधा, मारेगा एकदम ऑडिटर को. Now in that particular situation, what is going to happen? How this can be reduced? Ways to reduce. You are not going to suggest something unless that is required from their perspective. Do not suggest something unless they approach you to do so. Okay? You are not going to tell them that yes. In that case, if this software turns out to be unreliable, then who is responsible? Sir, auditor is responsible. He has suggested those kind of things. The ways can be reduced. This risk can be reduced if transfer of responsibility to management. I am suggesting this, but this does not mean that it's not my responsibility if this turns out to be unreliable. It's your responsibility. Whenever you are going to purchase something, you should have done a proper kind of due diligence. Transfer of responsibility to management. Okay? Auditor shall not be acting part. Of management. It should not be like that auditor has purchased those people and auditor is purchasing those computers for company. Auditor cannot be an acting part for company. If he is doing so, the auditor has approached, he should be totally independent. You are telling him it's okay, you are suggesting us some of the computers. Why don't you go to that particular showroom and get us some computers? So he is working as your agent. How? He is working upon your directions. How he can be independent? He cannot be independent. He will not be independent after that. Right? So services regarding design and implementation of financial system and implementation of financial system. An implementation of financial system will not be provided. You are not going to provide any kind of services which are related to the design and implementation until unless जब तक management accepts overall responsibility. Management accepts overall responsibility. The overall responsibility vests where management ability. Got it? Getting my point? That management is going to accept the overall responsibility. Then in that case, until unless they accept the responsibility, you are not going to tell them anything about the design and implementation, that what kind of internal control should be there, what kind of financial system you should have. No, you are not going to tell them anything. First of all, these services are again prohibited for company, but they can be taken up by firms. Moving on to next. Should I go ahead? Please pause. Pause. Next is management do not rely on such FTS. What is FTS? Or it's FITS, Financial Information Technology System, prima facie. That means this is not going to be the very first priority for the management in order to design for internal check and control. For internal checks and controls. For internal checks and internal controls. Getting my point? Yes. Now moving on to next. The fourth kind of service which is required to be given. Next is preparing confidential reports. Confidential reports. Will this work be given to us? Exactly. Every kind of confidential report will be assigned to professional people. The people who are going to be professionals, they will tell you everything about the company, that what is going on with the company. Abhi kya chal raha hai, kal kya hone wala, sab pata hai unko. Preparing financial reports. Auditors are, first of all, they are not prevented from preparing such kind of confidential reports. But there are few things they can do it. But preparation of confidential report is subject to client's authority. If your client has given you an authority to do the proper confidential report, let me tell you that how this works. A company has approached bank, right? A company has approached a particular bank for loan. Now this bank is going to hire a particular person who is going to find out every kind of due diligence. Particularly, this person is going to fetch out the each and every detail about this company, that whether bank should give loan to this company or not. Puri simple kahani batayega ki what are the compliances which have been done. This is a kind of a confidential report. So preparing of confidential report is subject to client's authority. If client has given you that kind of an authority, then definitely you can proceed. Now the conflict is like that they have done an analysis of the company. इन सब लोगों ने analysis किया. After doing the analysis, a report has been furnished to bank, on which basis bank has given a loan to the company. Getting my point? On the basis of this confidential report, bank has given loan to this company. Now after that, moving on to next. After doing this kind of an analysis, that yes, bank has given loan. And in that analysis, if something turns out to be wrong, कुछ गलत है इसके अंदर, then what will happen? The auditor will be forced to make an audit report as per the report which has been given to bank. If into his report he has mentioned that the company is not looking feasible, company is unable to survive for next 50 years, he has to mention in the audit report on the same grounds. On the audit report, he has to do those things on the same ground. Got it? The things cannot be contradictory कि इधर कुछ बोल दिया उधर कुछ बोल दिया. They have to be kept in mind. Okay? Now, the next is, the logic is partner other than audit engagement partner should be appointed. Audit engagement partner should be appointed. Engagement partner should be appointed. Sir, what kind of a solution is this? That you are going to appoint any other person? Yes, it's a very simple phenomenon. Although Companies Act straight away prohibits the appointment of auditor for these kind of services. Section 144 straight away prohibit that you are not going to carry out these kind of services. Okay. Now, why should I have an audit report with an individual auditor? An independent audit. Why should I have independent audit? What are the advantages? There are so many advantages of independent audit. Advantages of independent audit. Advantages of independent audit. What are they? First of all, the very first is protection of interest. Protection of interest of whom? The people who are owners. The people who are owners but not in management. But not in management of company. Got it? Understanding my point? Their interest will be protected properly. There will be no such nothing like that their interest is going to be violated. No, such kind of things will not happen. After that, tax liability. The government will be like that, yes, an independent person has done the audit. Now, whatever the profit and losses, they are going to be true, and the tax liability, whatever they have computed, that is correct. After that, moral check on employees. If there is any kind of an employee who is going to commit any kind of fraud or embezzlement of cash or any kind of misappropriation, he will be caught. He can be identified easily that yes, there was no such voucher, in spite of that this person has done this kind of a transaction. Now, I'll tell you more about this. Credit negotiation. As when it comes to company would approach banks so many times because every company do need money to run their business, and they will be given so many options from banks, working capital loan, PCFCs, letter of credit, and so many other things as well. So while this company is going to approach bank relies on audited financial statements let us suppose you are a bank. On which financial statement you will rely? You are going to basically boost your, which kind of financial statement is going to boost your confidence? Audited one or unaudited one? So definitely audited one. Yes, the audited financial statement is going to boost my confidence that yes, this is verified. Now moving on to next. Trade dispute settlement. Now, when it comes to trade dispute settlement, a lot of times workers they get bonus, they get their minimum wages are fixed. When it comes to bonus, this is basically one of the customs when it comes to India. And the people who are getting their bonus, they might sometimes, just because of the rumors, they get a thing like that, okay, company is earning that much and they are not giving us bonus. Nobody is giving us bonus. Then in that kind of a situation, audited financial statements can be given to the workers that yes, look after them. We do have only this much profit, right? You must have heard about such kind of strikes which are going on, a lot of movies do give such kind of an images that strikes are going on. So in this kind of situation, the company and the workers, there is a dispute. Workers, they think that profits are too much, but company is reducing them. So in that kind of a particular situation, when it comes to company and when it comes to workers, what you will find that company, if the company furnishes the audited financial statements, workers will rely that yes, accounts are true, we were wrong, accounts are true. Now moving on to next, control over inefficiency. Control over inefficiency. You can easily fetch out the wastage which is done by every kind of department into your company. You will come to know about that yes, you have given goods to these debtors and they turn out to be bad debts. Right? They turned out to be bad debts. Doing such kind of things, so that is inefficiency for me. Whereas rest of the people, they are giving their money on time, but when it comes to these kind of debtors, they are not giving their money on time. So they turn out to be inefficient. You can fetch out the details of such kind of inefficient people and you can control them very easily. After that, okay, arbitration. Arbitration, what is arbitration? Arbitration is settlement of disputes outside the court using a third party. Outside the court using a third party, yes. It is useful over there so many times because let's suppose you and me, both of us, हम दोनों की लड़ाई होगी एकदम, मारा तुम लोगों ने मेरे को घेर के, सर क्या बात कर रहे हो, मजाक चल रहा है ना, तुम्हारी किसी और से लड़ाई होगी, छोड़ो ये मेरे को ये अजीब लग रहा है. So you had a kind of basically there's a breach of contract which happened between you and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, right? I don't know, when it comes to Rahul Gandhi, why you guys smile? I don't know. So there's a breach of contract which happened between you guys and Rahul Gandhi. So you both, in spite of going to court, you went to arbitration. Arbitration is a third party settlement which is an alternate dispute mechanism that in spite of approaching the court, you guys can straight away move on to a third party who is going to settle the accounts. Over there, furnishing audited financial statements will give you an advantage. Yes. Because they are going to prefer the audited financial statements in respect of unaudited one. After that, this also provides assistance to government. Because when it comes to getting license from government for any of the particular species, getting license from government, every time government is looking forward that you are going to furnish audited financial statements. Nobody will be looking further that you are going to furnish an unaudited financial statements. Straight away, no, they are going to mark a cross. We do not need an unaudited one. We need an audited one. After that, there is a kind of appraisal. Right, okay, just leave it. We have covered so many points. I can write so much more points, but this will become difficult for you guys to note down. मुश्किल हो जाएगी, क्या फायदा? Now moving on to next point. There is an advantage. Okay, now moving on to next. Let me wrap up the classroom over here. We'll catch you guys into the next class where we are going to talk about the errors and fraud. What is an error and what is a fraud? What is an error and what is a fraud? We are going to talk about both of the things into financial information or financial statements, everything. I know things are difficult yet, but they are going to be resolved. They are going to be very much easy once we are going the existence of base that is required to be done at a very good grip. Until unless your grip is not good at the base itself, you are going to suffer. So I'm going to wrap up the classroom right now. We'll catch you later on into the next class where we are going to talk about the errors and frauds, and I'll basically complete this kind of a chapter. I will try to complete this kind of a chapter into the next classroom. The next classroom is going to be a little bit lengthy as I can see that there are so many things which are still left. Now bye bye, take care of yourself. We'll catch you in next class. Bye.